This is a follow-up from my last video where I was asking for help on this device. I went ahead and did the things that people had suggested. One of the things was to go through the AC motor, tear it apart, clean it, and see how that worked. And I did that. I was quite surprised how clean it really was, but I went ahead and cleaned it up. I did note that there was some oil on the inside, and that could have been, overzealous me doing that. But I cleaned it all up, got it back in there, at which time I noticed that this tape wheel, this gray thing right there, was really, really dirty. I apparently didn't clean it as good as I thought I did, but I went ahead and since I had it off, I ran it through some cleaner and got it all cleaned up. And it looks really, really good now. Really, really pleased with that. So I got that all put back in and tried it, and it was still the same. No changes there. Then I had a suggestion about pulling the tape counter belt off. Try that. I did. There is, again, no change. One of the things when I working on this initially, the tape counter was pretty much seized up, and I hit it with a couple of drops of penetrating oil. In fact, that stuff right there, and did it from both sides, and that freed it right up real quick. So I have no issues with that tape counter. I have initially I'd purchased the Sam's PhotoFact on the device, and I was working with that and kind of happy. Unfortunately, it really didn't have any exploded views, and I felt the thing was kind of lacking. Electrically, it was all there, and you should have no problem with the schematic, component ID, stuff like that. But I did ended up last night buying the Sony service manual, which I find to be a lot better in most all aspects. Has a lot better exploded views, more detail as far as telling you the alignment, height, and stuff of such components, but not everything. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm very happy with that. I also had a question about what this was and what the hole here is about. I cannot answer what the hole is. I tried putting some torque bits in there, seeing if it was adjustable, and well, nothing. I had nothing that would either fit it, or it just didn't have an end that it was adjustable. But to answer what this guy is, this is the adjustment for the pinch roller to raise the shaft up and down. And you have this little set screw here on the side that you could adjust that and tap this, and by tapping it, it will go down. Of course, I ended up cleaning this all out before you needed pliers or something to tap on it to make it go down. And by doing that, like I said, it adjusts the height of the pinch roller shaft. If you needed to bring it back up, you had to tear this whole deck off and reach up underneath to the linkage or to the bottom of the pin and lift it up, at which time the linkage would adjust this right here. Since I had this all tore apart, I went ahead and went through the cleaning process and cleaned and for a second time and re-oiled and lubed and everything like that. With the Sony service manual, it did talk about aligning this deck up and aligning this arm right here. Once I did that and got this, this here kind of wiggles, moves about, at which time, I don't know if it's because of this or a multitude of everything, the tape player does play better. It's not 100% at proper play speed. You could hear it dragging just a little bit, but with Shazam Content IDer, most of the time I can get it to identify a playing song. So that's good news. But like I said, I still have a slight drag to it. So I wonder if in the power supply board, and this will probably be my next thing, and this is also going to be a question to you guys, the biasing. Do you think that that would have a issue with the tape playing at the proper speed? Now, one thing I noted on my other Sony, I think it's a TC, whatever, 630 Delta, I believe it is. I noticed this pinch roller, when it was in the off mode, rest mode, whatever, that this actually pulled back and sunk down. Made it a lot easier for you to spool the tape up. My last video I made mention that I was waiting for this tape guide to show up, and it did, and I got it in place, and it's exactly where it needs to be according to the Sony service manual. You guys might appreciate the video a little bit better today. I'm not on a older camera. I'm actually on my cell phone, so we could see slightly better today. So one thing I noted once I got this guy in place, and I really never paid attention when I played with this in the beginning, and it's definitely an issue, is spooling the tape. Now, theoretically, technically, you got the head cover on, and you're just supposed to drop the tape down, loop it through the hole, done. Hit play, you're ready to go. Well, got a problem here. Because of this tape guide, and because it most importantly, or primarily I should say, because of this, the tape just does not fit on there properly. Now if I take this lever here, see, and I can move the whole thing, it does sink down like it should, which would allow the tape to spool on there properly. Now when I had this all off, and I aligned this to where it was supposed to be, I think it was 17.2 millimeters from the tape deck to the top of the spindle, so I had to pull the pinch wheel off and measure from the top to the cabinet chassis, and I got my 17.2 millimeters. At which time, up underneath here, there is a plate that taps the bottom of the spindle, and when this moves, this actually slides down it, allowing this to drop down. So when this is all out of here, it works like it should. At least I think like it should. Once I put it in line, this only works as such. As you see, it does not drop all the way down. It does drop, but not all the way down. So, looking at the schematic service manual, this needs to be adjusted so far from this bottom plate. Up underneath this button here, this plate right there. And the way you align that is by moving the tape head plate, deck, I mean, but there's not a lot of movement. And because of that, it don't allow this to move, or this to move any more than it is. Now, if I tried moving this any more, then it will throw this off. So my question is, for those that have worked on these mechanically, what is it you've done to rectify this problem? And those that are familiar with the 355, what's the behavior of this pinch roller? Does it actually collapse all the way down like I think it should? Or does it rest here? Unfortunately, the Sam's service manual nor the Sony service manual really talks about this. So I don't know the behavior. Nor does it talk about, well, I should say, nor does it have a exploded view or a picture, profile picture, that shows this in the rested position. The photos that it offers, or line drawings, shows it in this position. So that kind of perplexes me on what's happening. And just a moment ago, you did hear this playing. And it has a little drag to it. Shazam Content ID does not identify this tape. And this is was a popular band back in their day. I notice on this version here, with the power turned on, the motor spins. So I just turned it off so I could pick this up and show you who it is. Also notice when I made the adjustment to this, it did it did move this just a little bit. So I'm really not sure where the fix was. Oh, speaking of fix, and speaking of this, I won't touch it. I got oil on my hands. In my spring kit, let's see. This is the shaft that the spindle goes through. And even though mine looks really good, I went ahead and swapped it out thinking, since that's a soft metal, maybe it got wore out over the years. That's the adapter that holds it in. And this is the dust cap, oil cap that goes on top. So it goes like that. Oops. Well, and then that goes on top of that. So that's how that works. Because I was asked about the idler sleeve, and going through the service manual, both service manuals, there's no such thing as a idler sleeve, but they've got a idler sleeve. Shoot, what do they call this? Not exactly an idler sleeve. Oh, idler sleeve shaft. So with the suggestion of where's the idler sleeve, that was one of the reasons prompted me to go ahead and change this out. Also with the thought of it being soft metal. Let me go ahead and change the tape, and I'll put something in with spoken word, and we'll see how that sounds. So here's a good example right here of trying to thread this tape up on whatever. You can see from this side we need to get it looped up underneath this tape guide. Make sure it's got this off switch behind it. And then you can see there it just does not comfortably fit in there. So I don't know how, with the cover on, you're supposed to spool that. Thought I had another on there. Guess not. Maybe at the wrong speed.
The first and second epistles of Paul the Apostle to the Thessalonians, complete on one record. Recorded for the American Bible Society and the Talking Book Studios, Station for the Blind Incorporated. Read by Alexander.
Okay. So we're recording on the Sony whatever it is with this microphone. Okay, that's the pause button. It don't lock down, you just hold it. That's weird. I don't think this is going to be doing very well. This one needs some work too. But it's okay. I guess it just needs a belt and maybe a little glue or a crack there. Considering that it was dropped, I'm glad it's working at all. We'll probably need caps too. Let's see how it did.
Well, as you can see, Don sounded pretty good there. Mostly.
In the sight of God and our Father. Knowing, brethren beloved, your elect.
In case those who don't know, that was Don. I'm a junk collector.
Not unto you in word only, but also in power, and in the Holy Ghost, and in much assurance, as ye know what manner of men we were among you for your sake. And ye became followers of us and of the Lord, having received the word in much affliction, with joy of the Holy Ghost. So that ye were ensamples to all that believed in Macedonia and Achaia. For from you sounded out the word of the Lord, not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but also in every place your faith to Godward is spread abroad, so that we need not to speak anything, for they themselves.
So now I guess the next thing to do is actually try recording on this. I haven't tried that at all. I know it works. Well, I know the buttons work, but I have not tested a recording on here. I might even try throwing some tones on the tape and seeing what happens. Of course, I know if this is off, it doesn't matter. It's going to show those tones anyway at that frequency. So just forget I said that. That was dumb. Didn't think that through.
Show of us what manner of entering in we had unto you, and how ye turned to God from idols, to serve the living and true God, and to wait for his Son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead.
Jennifer, what's that? One of those new instant lunches you're calling? No, it's milk. Milk? Milk and what else? No, it's just milk. You mean that white stuff we used to drink when we were kids? Uh-huh. You know, your body has to replace 3 billion cells every minute. Every minute? Uh-huh. Your body needs all the help it can get. Jennifer, what do you mean by that remark? My body needs all the help it can get. Hold it down. Drink it up. Drink the milk every day. Let the change in you reveal to you the great way.
Brought to you by the American Dairy Association.
Actually, it sounded pretty good.
Speaking of milk, we have with us today a bone.
That's right, I'm a bone.
If I'm not mistaken, sir, you're a jawbone?
Yeah, no, but you're close.
You're related to the jawbone.
No, I'm connected to the jawbone. Ha, little bone joke there.
Yes. You must be quite an authority on milk.
Milk. Oh, there you go. Milk means calcium. Calcium means healthy bones. And healthy bones means healthy bodies.
Well, Mr. Bone, thank you for being with us. I see it's time to take a break.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take breaks.
Forget it, kid. I mean, sometimes I'm such a bonehead. Oh!
Let the change in you reveal to
It actually sounds really good. Let me put a blank tape on here. So what I have here is I got two new old stock tapes. One of these I'm going to use as a test tape. And then the other one, once I get my deck up and running properly, I will make a test tone tape. Now I do plan on eventually buying one, but if you've never priced them before, purchased them, you'll find out that they are very expensive. $100 or better. So in time I will, but for now, let's see how this can record. Okay, I've got a 1000 hertz tone set up and got it fed out through this coax into a RCA to BNC connector, into a RCA Y connector, into the inputs. I put my meters back in place. I need to tape them back in. They're still loose. Not sure if I'll be able to do this one-handed. Well, I'm pretty confident I won't. So I got the pots turned all the way down. And let's go ahead and give this a shot. So what I need to do is I need to hold these buttons in, and at the same time holding that in, I need to turn this to play, and that should activate record. Turn my volume down on my amplifier. That way I don't get feedback or hear the noise. So here we go. Okay. Now let me hit power. Said this is first time for me doing this, so we got power indication. And I got one channel working, the other not. Wiggling the adapter, see if maybe I got a bad adapter. Yep. Looks like I got a bad adapter, so let me of course grab the wrong drawer. Sorry about the view. Not only do you get to see what I'm doing, but I get to see what I'm doing. Okay. So what I found was, flick these up. Look at that. So I reckon with these up, that goes into record mode, and it allows us to do just that. Now I forgot to turn on my frequency counter, get that warmed up. And get that to 10, and hopefully that'll be enough for testing. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna move my cable over to here, and then we'll test it here, and then we'll even look at it there. So give me just one moment. Let me swap my wires. Okay, so I got plugged into my frequency counter, and today's frequency counter is going to be played by a Fluke 1950 Alpha. So I believe I need to switch these back to play. Oh, I goofed up because I forgot to switch the wires back here as well. Go to the output. Bypass the amplifier. We'll hit play, and I don't have that exactly where the tone starts, but I'm close. So let's go ahead and hit play. Probably, I think around 10 or so it should kick in. Oh, looky there. So my meters are not working. And I no longer have. Alright, so now I'm plugged into the oscope. Okay, so now I've got the tape respooled, and I'm plugged into my wow and flutter meter. Let's go ahead and hit play. So you see frequency counter, we're getting that. I mean, it's not bad. It is low. Okay. All right, so let me check the service manual. I think I need a 10,000 hertz frequency. And I think 10,000 is going to check the azimuth. Went ahead and hooked it up to the amplifier. If I can hear what it sounds like. And it sounds good and steady. Okay, I've got a 10,000 kilohertz signal at 0 dB. I got that fed in to the input. And then on the output, I've got run up into a T connector into the scope. And just with the device powered off, this is what I'm seeing. And no influence from the meter or the machine. And then on the other side of the T connector, I've got it going into the frequency counter, which as you see, I'm getting something. So, with that said, let me reset the counter on that. Let me push these buttons down here. Oh, I already got them on. Got that on too. So now all I got to do is hit this. You got these switches here. So I've got nothing there, nothing there. Nothing. Flip these switches. Nothing. Nothing. Reset my counter. Looks good. Give myself a little bit more than just a few seconds worth of tone tape. Haven't done a video on this frequency counter yet. Or that one. Or that device. Or really a lot of them, but it is what it is. Okay. So I think I got enough. So I've got the machine off. And I was getting ready for the next shot. I was just dorking around. So you can see where power's on. That's not. So I get to see my input and my output. So it's almost like one of my inputs may or may not be working. I don't know. Maybe that's for the mono. But it's kind of cool, able to flick this about. And if we look on the freak counter, you can see it's freaky. So that's going through right channel, left channel. It's kind of cool, interesting. All right, so now we're gonna try playing back. Let me take that off so we're not influenced. All right, well, that was a failure. I reviewed the tape again, and I got absolutely nothing on it. So what I'm going to try this time is jerry-rigged altogether. We got Y connector going into a adapter, going to a cable, going into a mono headphone jack. So we're gonna for the headphones, and okay. Turn speakers off. I don't know. I have no idea why I coupled it like that. Okay, cool. It works. Alright, so it works. I was just doing things wrong. Probably too many jumpers, too many cables. Very cool. Okay, well, let's conclude this video. But I would like to see if anybody can address the issue of this right here. Does it supposed to be like that or like that? Let me know your thoughts if you have a qualified, educated guess and a fix. I would definitely appreciate it. It'd be great to get this project over and done with. All right. Thanks for enjoying my lengthy, long-winded video. As always, I appreciate it. Take care.